Welcome to the official YouTube channel for the Colin Cowherd podcast. Go on, hit that subscribe button if you're new so you don't miss any of our great football content this season. So, Danny Parkins, know him from First Things First, and if our camera angle looks a little weird this week, it's a long story, but you're going to have to deal with it, people. That's just technology at its finest. So, I had this rant today on my show. And this has been a pretty consistent thing for 30 years in the business, that there is no even. So just own dynasties. They're coming, and they're going to come in different forms. When the Lakers dominated forever, it wasn't that they always paid the most. It's because Jerry Buss was cool, and the Laker girls were cool, and the weather in the winter in a winter league was great. And so people liked playing there. And then Pat Riley went to the Miami Heat, and he sold the same thing. Miami's cool. Miami's got perfect winter weather. So they won on weather, cool, not the most money. Duke basketball won on resume and Mike Krzyzewski. NIL, by the way, now Indiana football's got better financing than most of the country. Is it unfair? There is no even. So Oklahoma City is not only 24-1, but analytically the best defensive team ever. They're blowing people out for 2 years. Now, the playoffs are different, right? But they're going to have 3 first-round picks this year and could win the lottery, could have the number 1 pick. And if you look at their egoless roster, their coach, their GM, their bench, which is maybe the deepest ever, they could have a 5-year run. Their advantage has simply been they're smarter, they're more efficient. And the new CBA, I would argue, is more punitive to ineffective GMs. It punishes them more. I'll throw one more stat at you. In 1989, the richest people in the world had $1.3 trillion. They now have 17 times that. Okay, 7 different presidents. The point is, you can't legislate fair or even. Even socialism doesn't perfectly work. And that when I look at OKC and I look at the Dodgers, at least the Dodgers are an interesting dynasty. At least they're doing it. Money is their advantage and deferring payments. But it's watchable. OKC did it through analytics. It's terribly boring. And that Adam Silver wants everybody, he wants parity, and I think it's idealistic. When the truth is, you can't stop dynasties in golf, tennis, skiing, women's basketball. It doesn't matter. It's gender-free. And that baseball and the NBA should both should embrace the money aspect. Players want to play in certain cities. People want to live in certain cities. They don't want to live in Kansas City. They want to live in New York and LA and Boston and Chicago. And so when I watch Oklahoma City's dominance, I say, oh, all right. Well, at least the Dodgers dynasty, you just don't like that it's money. At least it's captivating. At least it's interesting. So I know you don't agree with that. I laid out but my take is the NBA, of all the pro leagues, everything is going up. NIL has made the rich richer, right? Everything's going up. Basketball's not. Because it's got parity. And nobody really truly wants parity, nor is it good for the business model.
Well, I don't know if we're dealing with a little bit of causation correlation there. Like, you think that basketball's ratings are not going up because of parity? I think ratings were up in Kansas City for the Royals when they were good. They were down when they're bad. Generally speaking, my guess is the Oklahoma City Thunder's local ratings are very good.
Great.
That would be my guess, right?
Right.
And so, do the Thunder have a fan base that is national or international? Obviously not. So if a dynasty, because of Sam Presti's genius, happens to take place in Oklahoma City, will that have the appeal for basketball that a dynasty in LA and the Dodgers, one of the most famous brands in all of global sports, has for baseball? Of course not. But if it was flipped and the analytically brilliant thing that you called boring in basketball happened to be occurring for the Bulls or the Celtics or the Knicks, my guess is the ratings would be up. And if the team that happened to have the best local TV deal in baseball was a small market brand that people didn't care about, I don't think the ratings would be up that way. I think it's the Dodgers that is it's captivating because it's the Dodgers, and it's boring, quote unquote, to people because it's Oklahoma City, not necessarily because Dynasty. I agree with you. Dynasties, generally speaking, drive interest.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the Patriots, the Chiefs, the Warriors, the Dodgers,
Yeah.
but the Spurs, when they were a dynasty, weren't slaying it in national TV ratings because it was San Antonio. So I don't know that I agree that. I think it's like dynasty and brand drives ratings, unless in football where everything rates, right?
Yeah, so
right?
I guess
Basketball and baseball, I do think it's more brand dependent.
Well, I guess my ultimate point is stop worrying about tanking and stop worrying about dynasties. Players want to play where they want to play. There's too many franchises. There's greed all over sports from the ownership position. And I think we worry way too much about, tanking. The NBA's become, to me, kind of fear-based on this. Like, they want to tell you it's a player-first league, but then they limit where players can go. Whoever drafts them, whatever, morbid, boring, bad team drafts them, you are punished for ever wanting to go play where you'd want to live in the winter. You're punished, right? Like Sacramento, no player wants to live in Sacramento. Most don't want to live in Salt Lake City. But you're punished economically if you're going, like, I want to go live in Miami, or I want to go live in Chicago. You're punished.
But if they didn't have those rules, is there any way for Milwaukee and Oklahoma City to win?
Yeah, Oklahoma City's doing it now.
Well, but no, but they had an advantage for Shai to resign. Shai was able to.
He's a low ego, low publicity star. He doesn't care. Like, he's a guy that would be like, yeah, I can make a little bit more money here, but it's so swayed. You can make so much more if you stay. That what young man who grew up with average means is going to turn down $200 million? So you actually become a prisoner of where you get drafted.
Listen, if we want to have a conversation about like drafts in general not being great for like labor in the workforce, I think that applies to all of the sports, right? like my brother-in-law graduates from Purdue computer engineering, and he had offers from different places, right?
And he could choose.
And he got to choose, and he chose he chose well. Like, the kid works at NVIDIA, and like it's gone well for him. But like could have ended up at Hewlett Packard. Would have been fine, but the dividends wouldn't be as good. But so yeah, like he had options. He wasn't drafted to NVIDIA. He chose NVIDIA, right? So I obviously agree that is anti-capitalistic, un-American, all of those things. But I do think that sports would, in general, like, we can talk specific Dodgers, specific Thunder, specific any point in time. I do think they, in general, would be less interesting if the Lakers and the Heat won every NBA championship, the Dodgers and the Yankees won every World Series, and on and on down the line. If only the big cities and only the big brands ever won, I do think it would be less interesting. We do like David and Goliath. It is a pretty popular narrative that's built. And like, I also would say, like, Giannis's title in Milwaukee, as just a basketball fan, and again, I'm watching all of them, right? I'm watching all of them.
Right. Yeah.
I would argue that Giannis, like, not all titles are created equal. I think we've talked about this, like, in terms of how I view them. Like, KD hates this argument, but I will contend that it is fair and logical. His titles, plural, in Golden State are not as impressive as Giannis's singular title in Milwaukee. Because KD, because the cap spiked in an abnormal way, and he joins a 73-win team that won before him and won after him. It's like, congratulations. They had an owner who was willing to pay the tax, and it was aesthetically pleasing basketball, and probably the best team in the history of the sport. Very cool. But Giannis, 15th overall pick, skinny kid from Greece, goes to Milwaukee, signs 3 contract extensions with team that drafts him. They build a new arena because of his popularity, and he has one of the great closeout NBA Finals performances in the history of the sport to bring one title to Milwaukee. To me, that is more like of a legendary title than KD's titles, plural, in Golden State. And I don't know, I think that's kind of related to what you're talking about. I don't want to live in a sports world where Giannis's title doesn't happen. I'm fine with Golden State having the dynasty, but I want Jokic to get his one. I want Giannis to get his one. Like, I want both to exist.
Today's show brought to you by our new presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. I just spent the weekend down in Hollywood, Florida, at an amazing facility. The holidays are here and the sports schedule is packed, tighter than Santa's gift bag. Week 15 football, bowl games, NBA, college hoops, hockey, the whole sports sleigh is loaded. And on Hard Rock Bet, there's always something to unwrap and bet on. New customers can sign up, bet $5 on any game. If it wins, you'll find $150 in bonus bets on top of your winnings stuffed in your stocking. That's holiday magic. Not sure what to place your first bet? Hard Rock Bet just launched a brand new For You page, making it easy to find all your favorite teams, players, and leagues all in one spot. I love it. The Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook app, the only legal sportsbook for whenever you're in Florida. It's also live in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, Colorado, and Michigan now. Coming soon to more states as well. Plus, Hard Rock Bet offers new promos daily. So whenever you're listening, just open the app, check out what you've got any day of the week, download the Hard Rock Bet app. It's awesome. Make your first deposit. Here's something that somebody asked me the other day.
All right.
Why is it that the Asian influence actually seems to help baseball, but the international influence doesn't help the NBA? In fact, often you could argue hurts it. I have a theory behind this. It's kind of one of those think out loud, kind of think your way through it. So Ohtani and Yoshi, there's no question have helped baseball. This international flair helps baseball. It does very little. In fact, the international stars who are now MVPs in 5 or 6 straight years don't translate necessarily. And so I've thought about this. Can I throw this at you?
Oh, always, yeah.
Because baseball, like the NFL, sells the team. They sell the Cubs. My daughter goes to a Cubs game. She doesn't go, I want to go watch Kyle Tucker. She wants to experience Wrigley.
And I bet she had a great time.
She had a great time.
Yeah. Wrigley's undefeated. The Cubs, very defeated. Wrigley, undefeated.
Yeah, it's somebody said this. If Wrigley was in Europe, it would be like you would go to it and be like the Vatican. You've never been to Wrigley? Oh, it's over in Belfast. You've got to go.
It's like it's probably my favorite place in the world. I love Wrigley. Yeah.
So baseball sells the team. Yankees. Now,
sure,
players can help. A-Rod in his prime to the Yankees sold out Tuesday, Wednesday games. Basketball is so player-driven. The league is so much about the star, is that most European players are not really interested coming over. So basketball's insistence to sell the star over the team going forward as the game gets more global and international is hurting them with ratings. Baseball sells the team. Now, they love Ohtani, but it's not, Ohtani had a bad World Series. The ratings didn't go down. Ohtani, if he's not pitching, you see him infrequently at the plate. Is that the NFL and baseball going forward have an advantage? UFC has discovered this to a large degree. They need another John Jones and Conor McGregor. UFC is great, but the stars, like boxing, WWE, when Roman Reigns didn't first hit, they're like, we need our Hulk Hogan. We need our Andre the Giant. And that the international basketball player has no interest in being a big personality, and the NBA has always leaned into personality over brand.
Yeah, I think listen, baseball definitely sells the team. There's no question. They sell the team so much that a pretty consistent, like 20-year or maybe 100-year criticism of baseball has been, why don't you market your stars more? But and they're like, we're doing okay. Like business. I always say about baseball, like you can have $100 with $100 bill. That's the NFL. Or you could have $100 with fives and singles, and that's baseball. Baseball is a booming, growing, huge business. They just make it from, we have a ton of inventory that a ton of people care about in a ton of places, and then it all adds up. Whereas Bucks, Falcons, 15 million people will watch, right? Like, and so like that, there's a huge difference in just the popularity of the sports and how they make their money. The international, like, and so the NBA, obviously, Bird and Magic, right? A little bit Dr. J, but really since Bird and Magic, it has been, wow, stars grew the league's popularity exponentially. Jordan takes it to a level that they never thought of. Ever since then, star, 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 star. And I think that's just the nature of the sport. Like, I don't think that is something that will ever change. Like, I don't think like basketball is dumb or the NBA is dumb for marketing its stars, because you can go to a Dodgers game and see, it's rare, but you can see Ohtani go 0 for 4 or get shelled on the mound. You go to a Lakers game, LeBron's putting up 27, 9, and 8. And like it is a bankable box office thing.
But college basketball, UConn women's, I turn it on because of the brand. Duke basketball, regardless of players, they're playing them on. So in college basketball, men's and women's, I watch brand. It's the NBA I watch for the star.
Yeah, but in college, the best players go play for the brand. Whereas in the NBA, LeBron gets drafted to Cleveland, Giannis gets drafted to Milwaukee. So like they become the huge star in the NBA. And then like the psychoanalysis of a European player, not like Giannis is in commercials. I happen to think Giannis is actually, I think of the European players, he is the best. At like what you're talking. He's funny.
He's also been westernized. He now criticizes ownership. He's us now, right?
Right. Well, he gives incredible answers at press conferences.
Yes.
Like he really like thoughtful. He'll be critical, to your point. He's had funny social media moments where he seems like relatable with his significant other, like with his kids on the court. Like I actually think, but he's not American, and it's Milwaukee, and not as many people pay attention. But I do think if it was like Giannis Jones and he played for the Bulls,
he went to Duke.
Yeah. I do think that we'd be like, oh my God, Giannis, he's going to carry the torch. He's the most popular player. So part of that's American, like just like American bias that, it's just part. I don't think I think part of it's the European star, and part of it's just, we root for Team USA. We root for the U.S. men's national team and all of that. And listen, I'm a Team USA basketball dork. Like, they got issues coming up. Like, they have to figure out some stuff, because the last Olympic team still got bailed out by Steph and LeBron.
I know.
And LeBron and Steph had the podcast 2 weeks ago where they're like, hey, you're not going to play in 28, right? And LeBron was like, no. He's like, are you? And Steph's like, I don't think so. But they're both in their mid 40s, and we're asking that question. Like, I think Steph could probably still get buckets. So, we have to figure that out. Like, who is the guy? Is it going to be Anthony Edwards? Like, is he going to be the face of American basketball? Is it going to be Cooper Flagg? Is it who is the next guy going to be? And this year at the All-Star game, Adam Silver's doing the trying to channel the Four Nations, right. But the Americans got two teams. Like, if it was just 8 Americans against 8 international players, we'd get smoked. And so there's more American All-Stars, which is why there are 2 teams. But the top would get absolutely run off the court. So the personality thing is definitely part of it, but also it's just, we need better American basketball players.
Yeah, and I listen, I think the league's never been more skilled. I mean, Charles Oakley couldn't play today.
That is a statement of fact. The league has never been more skilled. I think it's the only league where Like baseball's going to expand, it looks like.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I don't know if I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I get it for money, but like I don't know that there's definitively enough talent to
We
feel
already had 2 AAA teams last year, the A's and the White Sox.
right. Like the NBA, there's enough talent. Like there is flatly enough basketball players
No
that like
question.
we see it all the time. Like a team's like, oh man, we had 4 guys get hurt, and then someone you've never heard of come in and drops 50, and you're like, what? Like there is absolutely enough talent in the NBA to grow the sport a couple more markets if and when they want to.
So I've always been a fan of Notre Dame. I appreciate their academic rigorous standards. I always had kind of a rule, if I were going to put on a college kid, where he went to school mattered. Like Notre Dame kids could come on and lecture you about physiology, right? Like, so I always like Duke basketball dudes or Notre Dame football dudes. You're like, we're safe, because I generally don't put 24-year-olds on the air because they get intimidated, and they, it's a big platform.
Yeah.
Notre Dame was always like the exception. You can put a Notre Dame guy on. I would, it's brilliant people sometimes lack self-awareness. Maybe they've been complimented. Maybe things have come easy. I was shocked by the lack of self-awareness from an independent school saying, we're just not getting the support of 21-year ACC member Miami, who, by the way, beat us. And I watched Pete Bavacqua, who by all accounts has been a very good AD, and I was shocked. They were tone deaf to the fact that they lost head-to-head, and that, guys, the last time Notre Dame won a natty, they were 25 independents. Even BYU said, we're going to join a conference. I'll always root for Marcus Freeman. I think he's such a good guy. He's kind of the face to me of the coaches of college football. Like if it was Nick Saban for 10 years, I think Marcus Freeman's one of the faces. What did you make of their reaction from we're not going to the bowl to this is outrageous to we're being picked on as a semi-member of a conference?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts. First of all, I too, like, you grew up in Chicago. There's no college sport of note, and so my dad and I used to he was just like, let's go to big games. Like that, we just like going to sporting events together. So we would go to one Notre Dame game a year. My dad just Catholic kid, poor, south side of Milwaukee, Midwest, his whole life. He really respected the brand. And so showed me Rudy at a young age. We'd go to games every year. Notre Dame's it's an impressive place.
Yeah.
It's also a little smug. It just is. They're like, who roots for our team? Jesus. Seriously, touchdown Jesus overlooks the stadium, and then you walk around that campus, and it's not the only religious figure statue that they have that's doing. They're like, and that one looks like he's doing a first down signal, doesn't it? And it's they just kind of carry themselves. And by the way, that's not totally it's the Ohio State University. I guess my point is tone deafness in college sports is not. That's just the latest example. There is so much money and so much arrogance and so much smugness, and Notre Dame is at the top of the list and has been for. But if I would have told you 5 years ago, Colin, in the future, there's going to be a university that gets left out of a hypothetical playoff, and instead of going to a bowl game, they are going to cry about it and take their ball and go home. You'd be like, Notre Dame. Yeah. It's just kind of, and by the way, they like it. Like Duke basketball, they kind of like it. It's part of their DNA to be a little smug and we're a little better than you. And so I wasn't surprised. Like you, I was turned off by it. And this is one I also know that you will disagree with me on. I will add it to the list of things where everyone says this is awesome for college football, the playoff, because we get more games. And it gets decided on the field. And I know the ratings are huge, and I know this makes me argue against more football. So I know that I'm upstream without a paddle here. But Indiana beat Ohio State in football, the ultimate basketball school, beats the ultimate football school for the Big Ten championship to become the number one team in the country. And I watch your show every day as I get ready to do my show. And that made Herdline news. And you spent a lot of time talking about how 2-loss, 9th-ranked Notre Dame, did they get snubbed for 2-loss, 10th-ranked Miami, who Miami beat. Now, to your credit, you argued, no, they're being ridiculous. But, like, have we lost the plot a little bit that we are focusing on the 9th and 10th-ranked team instead of the teams at the top? To me, like, it is just what is awesome about college football, and there's many things, but I loved that the regular season in college football mattered even more than the regular season in the NFL. Every game mattered. And last year, Ohio State, Michigan, in my world, should have been an elimination game for Ohio State. Because if Michigan can beat Ohio State and Ohio State can fall to 8 and be the 8 seed and then make it to the tournament and win it, okay, congrats for your national championship. But then I personally care a little less about Ohio State, Michigan. I know that's sacrilege to say, and I know that'll never be the case for Ohio State fans, and I know it'll never be the case for Michigan fans. But like, if that's not an elimination game in that spot, it objectively means less to the casual person. And so it's like, I felt like Indiana got lost in the shuffle, and I felt like people were debating things that a 2-loss team didn't get a chance to be the 10 seed in the playoff. I'm not there yet in my college football brain to care about that.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. Netflix is basically Santa this year. 2 NFL games on Christmas Day streaming live. At 1 Eastern, Cowboys Commanders. Dallas is suddenly red hot. Could play big for the NFC playoff picture. Then at 4:30, you've got the Lions struggling against the Vikings. That's Midwest football playoff stakes. 2 teams battling it out for the number 1 seed last year. Must win for Detroit. Watching holiday football is a tradition the whole family can enjoy. Open some gifts, grab some food, settle in, and watch NFL Live on Netflix Christmas Day starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So from Little League all the way to the English Premier League, the regular season is simply a preamble until the championship. What you're arguing is, I want this one sport to really have a great regular season, but the rest of it's sort of nonsense. It'll be nonsense. The bowl games, we'll just end it with these arbitrary, weird bowl games that nobody goes to. And my take is, in sports, we all know, and it doesn't necessarily take too much away from the regular season, that we sort of know there's those great NBA regular season games on Saturday night at Celtics, Lakers, LeBron and Jason Tatum, and I love those games. But in every sport, including Little League, 8th grade girls volleyball, there's a regular season, and then you decide in the playoffs, and all the time in the regular season, an underdog beats a big person, and the underdog, that's their moment in the sun. My problem with bowl college football was always we cared too much about the regular season and then punted on these weird, unattended bowl games. So it was like finally Fox and ESPN said it's an $8 billion industry with it's a movie with a horrible ending. We just want to make the ending better to the movie.
Yeah, and again, that is what happened, and I get that it was going to happen. Do you think they're going to go to 16? Are they going to go to 30? Are they going to go to 32?
I don't think they'll go to 32. I'm very comfortable with 12. I wouldn't put Tulane in. I don't buy into James Madison. I think that's just nonsense. I just think it makes everybody feel good. It's a neat story. It's not the truth. But fine, I'm not going to lose any sleep. In March Madness, it works because there's 68 teams. I think,
and it's basketball. You can play a game on a Thursday and then a game on a Saturday.
Right.
Like it's basketball.
I would have rather seen Vanderbilt in Texas, but I'm good. I'm fine with it. I think people look at the Boise State teams with like Chris Peterson, where they had 11 NFL people, and they go, well, they beat Oklahoma. And it's like, okay, that was That team could have beaten anybody. It was Chris Peterson, and Boise State was an NFL factory.
Yeah.
So the college football is a little inartistic. It's very turbulent. It's weird, but it's always felt like boxing, where it's. I always say it's the Wild Wild West, like the territorial governors you had in the Wild Wild West. Those are the commissioners now. Everybody, every territory for itself, and it's like, no, we need like a Dana White, like we need a Roger Goodell. So I am willing to be less engaged, although I'm not, but I'm willing to care a little less about Auburn, Alabama, if I get a great ending to the movie.
And I think that that's totally reasonable. But like to your point, like James Madison, Oregon is they're 3 touchdown plus underdogs in that game, and it's a playoff game. Like that kind of feels like a bowl game that I didn't care about once upon a time. And the bowl game, I mean, my wife went to Clemson. She's like, oh, they're playing at Yankee Stadium. They're playing in the Pinstripe Bowl. You got to get us tickets to that. It's like, okay, like, you know what I mean? So we're going to go see Clemson, Penn State at Yankee Stadium, and it'll probably be sold out with all those fans there. So like, I agree with you. The bowl games didn't matter. I definitely agree that at the end, it feels more like a true process to crown a champion. It's undeniable that it's good TV and good business, and it works. The other thing that doesn't sit great with me, and I've heard you address this, and like Notre Dame's not going to play USC. Oklahoma can't play Oklahoma State anymore. The conferences are so big, and there's not divisions anymore. So even if you're in a conference, you don't get to play everybody in your conference to tell me truly who was the best. Like it's just. Because we have to get into this conference to have a better shot at a playoff, to get a better shot at a bid, to get a bigger. It's just college football is messy and regional and rivalry and irrational. Like I want Oklahoma to play Oklahoma State. I want Kansas to play Missouri. I want I want that stuff to matter for that sport, and I'll get there, but I don't love that this stuff has led to that stuff ending.
Yeah, and it's been very quick. And generally,
very quick. Yeah,
it's like I've it's not perfectly analogous, but it's like AI or the pandemic. The world changed overnight. Job displacement. Wear a mask. College football in a year went from paying a players the death penalty to celebrating it and marketing it and bidding wars over a junior in high school. It's
right.
Like, whoa, what's going on?
And USC has to play Rutgers in volleyball. And like USC plays Rutgers, but not Notre Dame. I'm like, are you sure? Like, are we positive that's what we want? Like it just, and you're right. Like it all changed real fast, and it's
real fast.
I still, you've got me, right? Like I'm not your issue. Like I'm going to watch big games. I'm going to gamble on it. I understand the business side of it, and I am entertained still, obviously, by any football game that you put on television with a point spread. But it's just, and like, I don't know. It's a lot fast, and I'm very interested where the dust settles in a decade and how this is all going to settle into it.
Green River Wheated Bourbon was just named best bourbon in the world at the 2025 New York World Spirits Competition. It wasn't a small-time contest. Judges blind tasted whiskeys from across the globe, including bottles that sell for more than $1,000. And the $36 bottle, hailing from Owensboro, Kentucky, came out on top. It's a 90-proof wheated bourbon. It wowed the panel. Peppery spice, s'mores, honeyed grain. Just goes to show you don't have to chase a rare bottle or drop a paycheck for a perfect holiday gift. Just find Green River on the shelf. Taste it. It's my favorite of all their whiskeys is their $36 bottle. If you want to learn more about Green River's lineup of quality bourbons and ryes, go to greenriverwhiskey.com to check out all the details. So, I was looking over the topics they gave us today. Here's one that's really interesting to me. So, certainly, I understood the Tim Tebow fascination because he was winning all the time, and there was a Christianity connection.
Yeah.
The Shedeur thing is weird because he came from a small program, didn't win a ton in college. There was no religious connection. And I said he reminds me of LaMelo Ball. He's the first quarterback influencer, where he's really popular in places I don't go. I go to TV. He's popular on IG or maybe Snapchat or all this stuff. And I think the Dillon Gabriel early success is very explainable. Dillon Gabriel played so many college games. He was more ready than Shedeur. He also played in more of a pro system at Oregon with pro players instead of Colorado. So Dillon Gabriel played so many college games. When he walked into that camp for the Browns, Stefanski's like, oh, this kid's unbelievable on the whiteboard. He's unbelievable. But over the course of time, Shedeur's talent's greater, which I've always argued. And over the course of time, Shedeur ramped up, got a lot of practices, and everybody went, that's the better guy. So I don't think there was anything other than more experienced college guy from a greater NFL-ready program had a clear advantage to start, but eventually talent wins. But through it all, what we aren't talking about is Shedeur does appear to be better than everybody in the NFL thought, because he was a fifth-round quarterback, and Greg Cosell came on my show this week and went, yeah, the film said he was excellent. And lost in all of this is the most important position in the sport. And because people didn't like some vibes, there's a franchise quarterback in Cleveland, and he'll be free for the next 4 years. To me, that's unbelievable.
I have all of the respect in the world for Greg Cosell. I watched every throw that he had against Tennessee. And he was great. I thought that he made some really impressive throws. I thought the throw to Njoku for the touchdown. I thought the throw to Fannin for the 2-point conversion. I thought he dumped it off some where it felt like he felt pressure and had pretty good just like awareness around him. Like I thought there was a lot of impressive things in that game against Tennessee. I still think it's a little soon to say that he is a franchise quarterback for not beating the Titans. Like it's just like he didn't beat.
I'm getting a little excited.
He didn't beat the worst team in the league, and now you've got him as Cleveland starter for the next 4 years. I think that's a little premature because the game where he came in off the bench against Baltimore, he looked not like an NFL player. The game against his only road game this year is against the Raiders. Maybe the easiest spot to have a road game other than Tennessee. And he was 11 for 20 for 200 yards, and he had a 66-yard touchdown, but 65 of that was yak. It was a dump-off swing pass where the Raiders just didn't tackle. And the Niners game, he was not good. And so, like, let's see, because the Bears defense is not very good, but they lead the league in takeaways.
I was going to say, and also the Bears have a stacked roster like Denver does. Shedeur has a bad roster, and he's being very productive with a terrible receiving core, a really bad receiving core.
Yes, and a coach who seemingly doesn't like him. And so, I Shedeur has been better than I thought he was going to be, but like, can we see how he plays when it's going to be 5 degrees below zero on the wind chill against the number one takeaway defense in the NFL? Like, it's a little early for me to say that if Cleveland has a top 3 pick, they're not taking a quarterback. And if they,
I would take Mendoza over him. And I would
then he's not a cheap franchise quarterback for the next 4 years. Like if they take Mendoza, he doesn't play another game for Cleveland.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they're going to get to Mendoza. I think Cleveland's too talented. They're going to win another game. I would take Mendoza over him. That's not saying he's not a franchise quarterback. Mendoza, I think, is a Pro Bowler very quickly.
Yeah. And listen, Shedeur, I cannot imagine, because think about what NFL teams have overlooked. Like, how? Because 32 teams passed on him at least 4 times, and some teams like 5 or 6 times.
And he was the most accurate college quarterback ever.
And his father is one of the greatest athletes this country has ever produced.
Top 5.
So right. So like, I don't believe it was a conspiracy. I think there was real red flags there. And I need to, like, actions, right? The NFL's actions said Shedeur Sanders is not an NFL quarterback. His actions against Tennessee are saying, no, I absolutely am. So now I think it's actually interesting. I think that prior to this, a lot of people were acting completely foolish, and it was like they weren't wanting to like confirm it was confirmation bias of how they felt about him going into the draft. And like, Mel Kiper on draft night, I think shaped a lot of narratives and fame, and people are tight with Dion. And I think there's a lot of factors at play here, but I will admit, like, now it's interesting. Like now it is all right. Show what you can do. And I can't wait for to explain it. But like next year, Deshaun Watson's on that roster.
No, gross.
I agree with you. But the owner of the Browns was at Deshaun Watson's wedding this offseason.
I know.
And executed the worst trade in NFL history and gave him a contract that apparently made him a pariah among all of his billionaire friends because they were all pissed that he gave him a fully guaranteed deal. I'm thinking he might be a little invested in that working out too. So there's going to be Shedeur will have to be great the rest of this year for him to enter next year not in a quarterback competition with a $230 million guaranteed quarterback and another draft pick. Maybe not a first-round pick, maybe not a top 5 pick, but I think he's going to have to be great to not be in a serious quarterback competition next year.
So if you look at year 2 Josh Allen and Caleb Williams, the numbers they're literally the same.
Oh, I've looked. It might be my screensaver.
So Josh Allen did get better, and I think Caleb will. Overlooked in all of this is Buffalo has the worst receiving core in the league right now, and Josh is throwing to tight ends, much easier throw. So his completion percentage now is like, oh, look at Drew Brees. Look at 6'6" Drew Brees. No, Josh is still a playmaker. He's probably closer to a 65, 66% if he was throwing the ball down the field, which, by the way, a Mahomes is to a Rice or a Xavier Worthy. He's throwing to tight ends because Kincaid, Haas.
Yeah, Knox,
last week, Gabe Davis, who they brought back, had 2 catches. That was their go-to.
Yeah.
So I think lost in Caleb Williams, or under-discussed, not lost, is the fact that he may have made 2 of the best throws of the season last week.
Yeah, the one to Zacchaeus and the one to Komet. Yeah.
I mean,
ridiculous.
The one in the end zone is it's almost an optical illusion when you watch it in real time. If you watch it again in full speed, it doesn't make sense how he got there. So
I was watching it with Nick, and I was like, tell me if I'm being a prisoner of the moment, but like, he has the best arm in the NFL.
I think he does.
Right? Like it doesn't, obviously that doesn't mean you're the best. It throwing it hard is not, but like to throw with velocity and accuracy on the move like that is it's preposterous. It's him, Josh Allen. It's a short list of guys.
So I guess this is my point. I think he's a shorter Josh Allen. I think that's his comp. I think he's a 6'1" Josh Allen. Everybody's like, well, what is this? Everybody has a comp. And I'm like, I said it today on the herd. I'm like, his comp is Josh Allen. Like, there is no ceiling for him. If I told you, best arm, never gets hurt, throws very few interceptions. By the way, probably the best runner right now in the league at quarterback now that Lamar has scaled back. It's either Josh Allen or Caleb. And you think this sounds crazy. I think Caleb is a shorter Josh Allen. I really do.
So I still think it's Aaron Rodgers. The shorter Josh Allen is just going to be tough for me because so much of what Josh Allen does is like he's a polar bear. Like you know what I mean? People bounce off him like Ben Roethlisberger. He will truck people. Not that Caleb's not willing to truck people. He has Caleb's 6'1", but he's strong. Like he's like 6'1", 235. Like he's pretty beefy. 230, whatever it is. But like Rodgers was 6'2", and Caleb, maybe this is also just following everything the guy's said since he's been a pro, but like he's modeled his game after Rodgers. Rodgers is his favorite player ever.
Yeah.
And to me, one of the greatest quarterback seasons, like on like the short list in NFL history, is Rodgers's 2011 season when he had 45 touchdowns and 6 picks. Because if you look at that season, it was like, it wasn't a Brady surgical, I'm just never throwing a risky play and we're going to have 10, 12, 14 play drives. It was like, he's top 3 in yards per attempt. Like he was chucking the ball down the field and making big throws, but also not turning it over. Like they were like deep ball throws that weren't risky. It's crazy stuff. And I think that's what Caleb can be. Like when he really dials it in, he wants to use that arm and throw it all over the place. But he doesn't throw picks. And so that is, I still think the absolute ceiling is the downfield aggressive assassin who doesn't turn the ball over. And his mobility and escapability is crazy because like Josh Allen can run, but he's not like pirouetting out of
right.
Like Caleb Williams looks like I want Chicago to nickname him the One. Like he looks like Neo in the Matrix. I'm like he's like dodging bullets. He was sacked 68 times last year, and people said I was a homer for this opinion, but I stand by it. I actually thought he had pretty good pocket presence last year. It's an insane thing to say for a guy who had a top 5 sack season in NFL history.
Well, Ben Johnson, first thing he did, Jonah Jackson, Drew Dahlman, Joe Tooney. It wasn't Caleb, it was the line.
Yeah, and like it was, and he was trying to make plays. Like it wasn't like he was dropping back to pass and getting blindsided and he didn't see it coming. It was like, the team sucks. It's a 10-game losing streak. I have 3 play callers my rookie year. Guys are dropping like flies all around me, and I'm trying to make plays. And he would get sacked. Now, some of it was on him. He held the ball too long. I think the number that I think it was on a Monday Night Football broadcast, and it blew my mind. He took like 28 sacks last year where he held the ball for 5 or more seconds. That should be impossible. Like, I don't think Peyton Manning did it in his career. And so like he's definitely learned, and Ben Johnson has helped him, but he is an escape artist back there. And sometimes it'll lead to a sack that was 17 yards instead of 8 yards. Sometimes, but he's really cut down on that this year. The completion percentage is way too low. He doesn't seem to see it quite quick enough. Like
that's right.
The throw he missed to Kmet was open. He saw it late and underthrew it. Terrible combination, and it was a game-ending interception. But like, I am convinced that there is a superstar there and that there is an MVP there. And I think Ben Johnson's going to get there. Like I think we've seen it before. Like the Mahomes, it was his first year starting, which made it so special, but it was his second year in Andy Reid's system. Like we've seen even if it's third year in the league, but it's the second year in the system. Like second year in the system is when you can have the mastery of it. Like I think Caleb's going to be a very trendy MVP pick next year. Like I think he's going to have a monster season next year with Ben Johnson, and then we'll see what that means for the rest of this year.
Danny Parkins, first things first.